Now, tracking how raw materials are sourced is challenging, and companies are under pressure to prove it's done in an ethical way. European bodies and companies are working on the first global certification scheme. Heidi Chokos is speaking to one of the organizations involved, CIRA, to discuss the importance of having a consistent standard throughout the raw materials value chain. Heidi Chokos joins us now from Cape Town. Good morning, Heidi. Of course, the flow of raw materials coming out of Africa is always a contentious issue.
Most definitely, Tony, and I think many always just see an end product. They see a cell phone, or they see an electric car or a car, whatever it might be, and you just see the end product, and that's all you want to see and use. But at the end of the day, we need to actually establish what kind of raw materials go in, and whether or not that whole process is actually regulated and done in the right way. And there is an organization, a program that's focusing to look into that. It's called CIRA, and we are joined by the lead programmer, who is Dr. Andreas Hooker. Thanks so much for your time. We really appreciate it. As I mentioned in my intro, you always see the end product, but there are so many raw materials that actually go in it, like your cell phone, for example. We just want the cell phone to work, but we're not realizing that that process needs to be regulated. Perhaps speak to us about some of the problems that are experienced when it comes to these raw materials going into the final product.
Yes, let's start with this mobile phone. It includes more than 60 different elements, and it's coming from more than 50 countries all over the world. And the material is transported over several ways, and it's a long and complex supply chain. And more the producers are asked by the people, where does these elements come from? What is in this country? What is with the environment? What is with the people's situation? Are children working for that? The questions are more and more, and the pressure is rising to the producers.
And just speak to us about why we should care and worry about what's actually in our phones and our cars. I mean, even in this microphone, there are some kind of raw materials that are being used here. And why should we care, specifically given the fact that we are at the mining Indaba? Mines use these raw materials, they mine these raw materials. Why should we care and worry about whether or not this process is properly regulated?
It should be sustainable. The production should be sustainable. That means we should look to the people who are working in the mine. Are they under good conditions working? Are they children, or are they well-trained people, and things like that? And so you have to control this in a way. But there is no way to control it over all these elements. You know, it's 60 in this mobile phone, and for some elements there are good certificates, for sure, but not for all. And that's really the problem.
Okay, so you're mentioning these problems, but what is your program, CIRA, doing to ensure that the proper value chain is actually followed and that it's regulated?
Yes, it is the first time that we with CIRA make it global. That means we don't have distortion, because not looking only at Africa or things like that. We are looking to all of size of mining industry, ASM, as well as a large industry. And we are looking for all commodities. That means we're looking for copper, as well as for lithium, as well as for cobalt. All of that are here inside. But coming from several countries, for example, the lithium can come from Germany, from Austria, from Spain, from Australia, or from South America. Nobody knows, but the people want to know what is with the environment, where these elements are coming from. And so we develop an overall system covering all these aspects, beginning in the pre-phase of a mine, so when you have a green field, and ends at the end when these products are built in this, for example, in this mobile phone.
And then just lastly, have people been willing to cooperate with CIRA when it comes to the certification process that you are adamant for them to adopt?
Yes, absolutely. We have so many questions, so many interests. For example, these large manufacturers, like automobile producers, have the problem.
see this end product, but we're not realizing what raw materials actually go inside the smartphone. I think most of us have these smartphones, and just to ensure that there's a proper certification process when it comes to these raw materials. Tony?
All right, fantastic stuff. Heidi Jokers there covering the Africa mining Indaba in Cape Town.